Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
For it seems now more certain than ever that the bloody experience of Vietnam is to end in a stalemate.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way!
I'm right. He's left.
Let's talk about it. I'm Lee.
I'm Ray.
Two childhood best friends with very opposing political views that just absolutely love talking about everything and all things political, hot topic, conspiracy theory, literally anything that happens on this green earth that we all live in. But I'm going to lead in and let Ray talk a little bit about his past, his background. Then I'll lead in, talk about mine, and then we'll kind of give you a glimpse of what this podcast is going to be all about.
All right. Well, I'm Ray. Yes, you can really say I was just born in a small town to a single mom working 3 jobs, trying to support 2 kids. Grew up in more of a Democratic household. Kind of grew out of that when Trump started running for office, and I joined the military. Eventually got kicked out of the military. And, yeah, just kind of believe in small government, want to bring back the gold standard, kind of want the government to leave us alone. You know, the usual.
I'm Lee. Pretty much same background as him, just a little bit altered. Grew up in a very small town, very conservative household. Got a little bit older, kind of got my own head on my shoulders, and decided that I just didn't really believe in that conservative outlook on everything and kind of went the more democratic liberal approach. Now that I've gotten a little bit older, I've tended to lean, more on the Libertarian Party, but very left-winging lean on that. Very big on societal needs and your own civil liberties and societal needs. Very pro-choice. Believe in trans rights, that whole thing. Very, very big on the societal leaning of the Democratic Party, and really understanding that a libertarian leader in today's age just is under the inability to actually make it to the office. So leaning more toward the Democratic Party just because that's somewhere that my vote could actually make a difference. And we made this podcast just to talk about it. We have these discussions 24/7. I mean, every day, coming home from work, going to work, and talking about these societal needs and these big policy changes that we see that happen across the U.S. on a daily basis. And we bring our different views together. And the way we look at it is our friendship is how the U.S. government should be ran. We can talk about our different issues. I can talk about my concerns, and Ray can talk about his, and we can sit there and actually come up with a very big common ground. And that's kind of what this podcast is. It's just a common ground. It's the round table. We come together, we talk, but at the end of the day, we're American. This is America. This is who we are. This is what we believe in. I believe in the right that I should exactly have the opinion that I have, but I also believe in the right that he should have the opinion he has. And we should somehow meet in the middle so that way no party is left out, no person is left out. Because after all, this really is all of our America.
Way to show me up on that fucking intro. But no, yeah, that's like all this is really for just kind of bringing the left and right to the discussion table. You don't see that in a lot of other shows, and I feel like doing this will help America grow, make it heal, and get us back to the country that we deserve to have. Where
Exactly. Actually make America great again.
exactly, like make it to where he can have his views and he can speak them out without the fear of retribution, and the same for the right side. We can just actually have real debates, not just shouting contests to see who can get the most followers out of it. Just basically exactly what I said. Just the show the country needs.
Exactly. I mean, it's really, this is what America stands on. It's the reason we became America. We wanted a voice. We wanted to be able to stand up for ourselves and believe in what we believe in and preach what we want to preach and do what we want to do without retribution of that's not the right way. And I feel like the way America has been going, we've been bleeding farther away from that. And, at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters living in the same great country. And we need to get back to that, big, strong believer in it. We need to abolish the two-party system. And I think that is a huge, huge step, is podcasts like this, where we bring those left and right together and you see the common ground between the two. I mean, shoot, we're two best friends, literally inseparable best friends. We call each other brothers. Our children call each other uncles. Best friends through and through, would take a bullet for each other if it needed to happen. And do we agree on everything? No, we do not. We actually disagree on most things. And that's exactly what America should be. It should be, I don't care if I disagree with you. I don't care if you disagree with me. Guess what? We're together. We're going to be through this through and through.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, we met when we were like 13 years old in high school, and couldn't tell. Like, we went 5-6 years before even knowing each other's political stances on things,
Exactly.
and it was a huge shock for both of us. Like, he's a bleeding heart liberal, I'm a staunch conservative, and we met on the love of cars. Honestly, that was what started it all back in math class for like sophomore year of high school. We grew up together from there, worked the same job together, bullshitted, have fun, partied together. And what was it, like when we were 17, we started talking about politics because I was joining the military, and I was talking about the Trump campaign, and you're like,
yeah,
oh, the hell with that. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, yeah, you sure?
And you were asking me if I ever thought about joining the military, and I literally just said I couldn't get behind it in today's political state. And then that's kind of when the dome crashed, you know what I mean? Like that dome that was around our friendship, it just kind of crumbled. And that's where you tend to see these massive, great friendships all kind of come to an end. But we took an entirely different approach, and we just leaned into it. We leaned into, we were each other's
what do you believe
board
on this? Yeah, like what do you believe on this issue? And we'll literally talk about it for 3 hours.
Yeah,
actually
3
working
hours
through our stances.
And in the long run, what I love about it is when there's a huge debate or some political stance that we're looking at the end of it, I really, really feel that, we come up with the solution to make both sides as happy as they can be.
Yeah.
And I think together we make the perfect libertarian. Like, honestly, like, like our friendship together is a libertarian mindset.
Right.
It's because we can honestly sit down, listen, and not just listen, we can actively listen to exactly what each other are saying.
Right. Like, we both, like you said, we both, love the Libertarian Party, but we know it's never going to happen. So having these discussions, breaking down the two-party system, getting out of our echo chambers and actually having real life discussions about these issues is what will heal this country. And speaking of the two-party system, how do you feel about RFK Jr. running?
Honestly, I'm pretty excited. You know my deep love and admiration of JFK. I've been obsessed with the JFK presidency since I was like 10 years old. So honestly, very excited. I'm very excited to see what happens. I see that he dropped and went independent, which I'm pretty excited about.
Finally getting a real third-party candidate.
Yeah, I think it's going to take somebody with that name to really show a third party that has a foot to stand on. You know what I'm saying? RFK Jr. Like, that is a huge, huge name to be attached to a third party. And I think that a third party candidate, honestly, is about the best ground that they've ever had to stand on to actually win anything.
And what I find is fascinating is he's not attached to an actual party either. And don't quote me on this, but I was watching a Theo Von, that's his name, Theo Von. Yeah, Theo Von podcast with RFK on it, and he was talking about how he doesn't get like corporate donations because a lot of them that want to donate just he doesn't believe in. He's like, I'm not going to take your money. So all this stuff is crowdfunded too, which I find amazing.
I do too, and that's kind of one of the reasons that I've kind of done like through little research here and there of kind of the reason he went independent from the Democratic Party, because it's kind of the party that he was with, but he kind of went independent just because he wanted the ability to do him, do his beliefs and not go into the status quo, quote unquote, of the Democratic Party. And I think that's the big issue with the two-party system is just the status quo.
Well, what I heard him say is they were trying to pull a Bernie Sanders on him, where they primaried Bernie Sanders out and kind of screwed him out of his candidacy. And what he was saying was, if he stepped foot in New Hampshire and campaigned, none of the votes would count for him. So he was like, that was the kicker. He was like, I'm not playing these games. I'm going to run. I want to get my message out there. So he dropped the Democratic ticket and went independent and just kind of did his own thing. And I don't know if you've seen any polls lately of like actual real polls. It was this Fox poll. He was showing he has more support than Trump or Biden right now. Like Trump's at 30 and Biden's at 31 and RFK's got 32%.
Yeah. And like I said, I really think that this is the first time that a independent political candidate really has traction to be, he could really take it. And what I love about that, though, is that really, to me, is it would be the start to the abolishment of the two-party system, which I feel is desperately needed for the furtherment of this country. And I think that this is the first time that we have actually got the ability to see it happen. And I'm just full of excitement seeing exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah, because you haven't seen a real third-party candidate since Ross Perot, but when was the last time before that we even had more than two candidates? I can't remember. It's been that long.
Either. And I really, like I said, I'm excited. That would really change this country for the better. It would really, I feel like it would get that ball rolling. And that's a ball that's been stagnant for years. It's buried so deep into the ground, and we need it to roll. Right. Because without the roll, we're going to be in the same situations that we've been in for decades now. It's one party sets their agenda, sets up the next party for failure. So then half the term of the next party is just trying to build back what they need. No one's actually making progress. We're staying stagnant. America has been stagnant for far too long, in my view. It's just, if we're not actually making progress and we're just trying to build back, it's the old saying of just, you take one step forward, you take 10 steps back. That is literally America in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like this would be the first time that you're not going to take that one step back.
Yeah, because like you see it with these campaign slogans, like Trump's was "Make America Great Again," and then Biden's is "Build Back Better." It's like, can we not just get back to actually fixing this country the way it needs to go? Because, for example, like if Trump gets back in office, his whole first 2 years is going to be rolling back all of Biden's policies and everything he's done, and then trying to get this. Sorry, my computer like fucked up. we can cut this out in post. What the fuck happened? Okay,
You got to continuously move the mouse.
Well, yeah, I got it.
It's because it's browser fed.
Okay. All right, we're back in 3, 2, 1. Sorry about that. My computer messed up, but yeah, like if Trump gets back in office, like his first 2 years is going to be trying to roll back what Biden did and try to get this economy restarted, trying to get people wanting to work again, like getting this inflation down. It's like it's going to eat up his whole presidency. So it's like he can't do what he wants to do because he's only got one term left and trying to just playing the two-party game.
Exactly. And then also, like, let's say a separate Democratic Party gets into office, from the get-go, the Democratic Party, I know on my side of the Democratic Party, I know there's many sides of each party, but on like my little corner of the Democratic Party, it's Biden. He wasn't really the president that we wanted, but it was the president that we had. And so it was the lesser of two evils type situation. And so we that's why I know a lot of people in my circle went with Biden. And so I feel like that would be the exact same issue with a separate Democratic candidate. Is not only are they going to try to further their own agenda, but they're also going to try to push back some of those situations that Biden has created. I'm, like I said, where I'm a libertarian, love the Libertarian Party, but also I am Democratic leaning. I am not saying that everything that President Biden has done is something that I agree with. And that is, I think that if you are a part of a party and you completely agree with everything that your president or candidate states, then let's be honest, you're not really having those personal thoughts. And I think even with a separate Democratic Party, half of their term is just going to be pushing their agenda, fixing the things that they seen that there was issues with. I think an independent party is honestly is what we need. It's going to kind of give us that blank paper.
Yeah, because even if, like, for example, like, even if he got 2 terms, like the whole first term's going to be trying to protect himself for the next election. So it's like he's not even going to do what he wants to do in the first 4 years. So he's kind of a lame duck president for the first half of his presidency. And the second term, he's like, well, now I need to hurry up and get what I need done, and hope that we get my party in Congress, so that way we can actually get what I want done. Like this whole system is just fucking screwed.
Yeah, I mean the system is there to just completely work against itself.
Like even in the primaries, like I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Democratic primaries, but like, do you know who the other candidates are?
A little bit. I've been reading here and there.
Yeah, because you got Joe Biden running, which, love it or not, he's not going to fucking win. Like the actual general election, like his support is in the toilet. Like he's not going to win. But then you got Cenk Uygur, if you can even think he can win, considering he's from Turkey, I think. Like he was born in Turkey. And then you got Marianne Williams, and both of them are progressives. Like they're on your side of the political spectrum. So like they're not going to let him in. So it's like well, we just need a third party at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's a third party is somebody that, you know, I'm willing to sign my name to. You know,
Yeah.
that's somebody that I'm willing. I don't think there is I honestly don't think there's a good enough candidate in either party for this upcoming election that I'm willing to throw my name into, except for an independent. I mean, honestly, and you know, a lot of people will say that you're throwing your vote away, but at that point, if I know what I voted for is what stands for me, then that's what really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like, even my guy on my side isn't going to win. He's even primary, because, like, I'm supporting Vivek Ramaswamy in this primary, like, on Super Tuesday. That's who I'm voting for. But, like, I know he's not going to win. So it's like, it would be nice to have even him go independent and try to run. Like, because he's like a spitting image of Trump, but, like, more of what I want out of Trump. Like, talking about dismantling the FBI, shattering the CIA, auditing the Fed, and even getting rid of the IRS. Like, that's everything I want. Or even if he was a vice president, I'd even take that at this point. But I don't know who Trump's going to pick for a vice president.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's another thing that is kind of nerve-wracking. You know, it's who they're going to pick, because like we've talked about before in the past, is what we talked about before in the past is, you know, like with Trump, I don't think he was an absolutely downright terrible president, but Mike Pence kind of attacked those liberties that I stand for. And that is absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah, because, like, I was iffy on Pence at first, and like, I was iffy on Pence, but I kind of seen him at first as like a bulletproof vest. Like, he was to get the part of the Republican Party that Trump wouldn't have got. So he picked a staunch conservative rhino Republican to be his vice president, just so that he can get those extra votes. But at the same time, it's like he didn't even need it, in my opinion. Like, his base in the Republican Party was big enough to where he didn't need them. So it's like, if Trump died, because he's going on 80 years old now, if he died, we would be stuck back with George Bush on steroids.
No, I mean, yeah, I get that. And I mean, honestly, like, I'm sitting over here reading some of RFK Jr.'s policies, and you know, he seems to be there. You know what I'm saying? He seems to be, you know, really following in JFK's footsteps on, you know, just civil liberties, and really, really making sure that we have exactly what we need to be able to build what we need to build. And I really enjoy it. You know, I really enjoy what he's talking about, and I really enjoy the way he looks at the border as a humanitarian crisis, and how instead of that just being let's close the borders and let's just close it off, let's fix it, you know. And I really enjoy the fixing part of it. I enjoy that, you know, he may be a president that he recognizes that there's problems, and instead of just saying, you know, it's either all or nothing, he's able to put the work in.
Yeah, like, for example, have you been seeing what's been going on at the border?
Yeah, I've been listening to a couple other podcasts that's been talking about it, and then with Texas Rangers blocking the National Guard blocking the Texas border, that was a little worrisome.
Yeah, because, like, I support Texas in that matter. Like, if Biden's not going to protect his borders, who's going to? Might as well send my National Guard down there and actually do something about it. And then Biden goes and sues him over it, try to prevent it. And I was like, dude, like, you're risking the lives of Texans first and foremost, and then he can't handle it, so he's busting them off to other states that are claimed to be sanctuary cities. Like, if you want them so bad, here, take them. And it's fucking up Chicago. It's fucking up Los Angeles. Like, did you see this news story the other day? It was Chicago shut down their schools to house migrants and forcing those kids to do online schooling.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. Like there was a news report the other day that the test scores, the readings, that most of Gen Zs can't read now. Like, they're damn near illiterate. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I think the whole online schooling for them was not just that, but like forcing them to do it caused it. And it's just going to happen again. It's going to ruin this next generation because of it.
Yeah, I think it's the forcing part. That's the part that I don't like, because there's kids out there that do well with it, you know. Like,
yeah, like you're like,
say for instance,
like your son, he's doing great with online schooling,
yeah,
but he wanted to do it.
Exactly. And I think it's one of those that, you know, it's just like anything. If you force someone to do it, me, for instance, you tell me to do something, I'm not going to do it. You could tell me to do something as I'm getting up to do it. I'm not doing it. My wife tells me to do the dishes as I'm getting up to do the dishes. Fuck that. I am not doing no damn dishes. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't tell me to do something in the middle of me. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not how, that's not how our brains work.
Right. And, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, this is some bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, have you been to RFK Jr.'s website and looked through his policies?
It's been a while.
I'm looking at it right now, and honestly, I'm liking it. I am absolutely. I think it's a little bit too early to tell, but I may put my hat in that ring. You know, I may. He kind of hits. What I like about RFK Jr.'s standpoints on it is he's really hitting exactly what we are making this podcast about. It is that true libertarian party. He hits all the social needs that I feel the need for. He hits everything that you feel the need for. He kind of just fills in between. He's protecting the people while also protecting the border, but he's not just protecting the border as in, let's just shut it off, let's end it. No, it is, let's fix it. You know, because and that's been my hardest part about when we talk about border control. And the hardest part that I really have to look into it is just, you know, at the end of the day, man, like, America was built on, you know, we're a melting pot. We are here. We are a nation of immigrants. And closing a border for a nation of immigrants is an absolute backwards move in my mind. That goes against what America was essentially built upon. And I don't think closing the borders is the answer. I think fixing the borders is the answer.
Yeah,
I think
it's like
fixing.
It's like when Trump was saying build a wall, he wasn't saying no one's coming in. It was, hey, like, our border is a Swiss cheese. Like, let's fix the holes. Let's add more Border Patrol agents to survey one of the largest borders in the world and protect the people that's here so that whenever people come in, we know who we're bringing in. We can filter them through, get the good ones, kick the bad ones out, kick the cartels out, so that way we're protected. Like the essence of securing this country, because we don't. Hell, that like I don't know if you've seen the border on Canada's side, but it's hundreds of miles of just cleared out forest. That's all it is.
Yeah,
because we don't have.
Or
We
just
don't
a
have
single barbed wire fence.
No, not even that. It's like our border with them is a forest, and they literally just mow down like to like 20 feet, 20 yards of forestry, just so that you have that defined space. But there's nothing there because we don't have to worry about Canada's border with them. No, drugs aren't coming in through Canada. Cartels aren't coming in through Canada. It was just a protection measure on the Mexican border. Like, I love Mexicans. believe it or not. Like, my sister-in-law is Mexican. I know that was a stereotypical racial thing, but I got a black friend. No, but
What's
like,
their name? What's their name?
damn. No, but like, I got like just building a wall on the southern border is just a typical security measure. Have designated ports that they can come in through, check their background, check their IDs, make sure they're not bringing anybody in, bringing drugs in. Like, what's so controversial about that?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I see that a lot of people, like a lot of presidents, haven't really focused on is that that process to citizenship.
Right.
And I think that is something that has been lackluster, and I think that is a huge problem in your typical. When you look at border control and you look at that, you tend to focus on coming illegally, and you don't focus on why they are coming illegally. And I think that is a question that needs to be looked at a lot farther, is because if you create a system of difficulties just to be able to join this country and be a part of this country and make it damn near impossible to do so, I understand why they come illegally, especially if they are born in a country that is where they live in fear every single day. I understand they want to escape, and I think having a better system in place to allow citizenship, I think, is honestly the correct answer to border control. Because if it not just make it easier as in anybody can do it, but you make it an actual obtainable goal, then I get it. You know what I'm saying? I understand that would fix that border control, because I mean, I don't know how many Hispanic people and people of color that I've met that has came from other countries, that it is, they've lived here for 17 years, having to go do interview after interview after interview, and after over a decade of attempting to become a citizen, they are finally able to become a citizen. To
Right.
me, that is that's ridiculous. That should not be a decade-long process.
Yeah.
Nothing should be a decade-long process. And honestly, I understand why that's scary, because if you're looking at a decade-long process, and if you dare cross that line at all in that decade-long process, you're going back to living in fear. And a lot of these things are, you're a parent now, and you look at it that way, as you could start this process. You're bringing your children, you're bringing these infants, you're helping them escape this civil unjust and this fear that you live in every day, and so they don't have to experience it. You're taking away that trauma from them, and that if you do it the right way, the likelihood of you having to go back and force your children into that trauma is so high. It's easier just to go the back door.
See, like,
And
I get that. Like, the citizenship process is bullshit. Like, I get that. It shouldn't take 10 years. But at the same time, a lot of these statistics, not lately, of course, with all these caravans coming in, but back in the day, I know this, for example, this Jamaican that my family hangs out with, like, they're like a really close family friend of ours, but he's here on an expired visa, and if he gets caught, he's getting sent back, can't come back for like 10 years. Like, he just can't come back. But I don't blame him for what he's doing, but he's working here and sending all this money back to Jamaica to support his family there. Which, if that's what you have to do, it's what you have to do. I get that. Like, I'm not downing them for that. But the fact that if there's one that I know, how many of them doing that also? Like, I'm not saying that immigrants can't come here and assimilate into this country and be patriotic, love this country, but a lot of them don't that I've met. Like, whenever they come here, for example, you come here, have the stereotypical anchor baby, blah, blah, blah. That child's a citizen, and you can't be kicked out. So that one citizen, they're not thinking about what's best for this country. They're thinking about what's best for their family, what's best for their family back home. So they're not going to vote on helping this country. They're going to be voting on helping their family, which I don't blame them. I would do the same thing. But to have a process to come here and make it easier to become a citizen, not have to worry about all those things, is what would help out too.
Yeah, I mean, because honestly, if it, and it's one of those things, like, I understand, like, I understand
it's a touchy subject. Like, it's not easy to fix.
Because I also understand that, why would they vote to further this country if this is the country that prevents their family from being safe? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of the whole, it's back to the topic of like abolishing the two-party system. Is, America used to be the greatest country on earth, and honestly, I think we've kind of moved a little bit farther away from that. We've kind of lost touch with everything, and we're really big on the I'm right, you're wrong spectrum. And I think the biggest battles in America today is with each other. And if they see what do you say? Like, if they see the way America is, how we are, how that their grandmother that currently lives in this third world country that is fearful for her life every single day that she is alive cannot come and be with them in America because of this huge, long process. Yeah, I get not voting to help further America because America is their oppressor in that sense. They may not be as fearful of America as the grandmother is back in the third world country, but at the same time as that, America kind of turns into the bully in their perspective, and
Yeah,
I think that fixing that it would help that aspect of, the logical sense of, America used to be number one. We're not really that high anymore. We need to be number one again. And once we're number one and we have that mentality switch and we're making the difference, because America used to be the difference. We used to be the one. And we used to, we were that guy. You know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
I think that once we are that guy again, you're going to see that switch. You're going to see people deciding that they're going to really fight for the country that they are in, not the country they are from.
See, like,
You know what I'm saying?
Like, we got to make it back to where I don't want us to be the, how do you say it? Like we need to get back to the point where we're the country you want to go to, not the country that will take anybody because you're a refugee. Like, like, my perfect world, you wouldn't be fleeing here just because we have an open border and we will help you. We will give you all these benefits to coming here. For like example, California is now giving illegal immigrants free healthcare, but fuck all those homeless people. Like, once we get this country back on track, get it fixed, you're going to be like, I want, like it used to be, I want to go to America and have a better life. I want to go there and build a business. I want to go there and have a big, huge farm for all my family to live on and be able to make something of myself in this, and not in this country that won't let me do it. Like, back in the day when this country was founded, like, and you got to keep that in perspective too. We were a growing nation back in the day we needed the people to come here. We would give them 100 acres out in Oklahoma to settle it and get people out there, build this country. Today, we just don't have that anymore. Where there's not a lot of land left for people to come to, unless you go out in literally in the middle of Oklahoma. Like we're not expanding anymore. We're not this colonial empire that we used to be. So when we get people to come here, you want them to come here to be an American, not as I'm going to go there and be a refugee. Because that's the mentality all these huge caravans coming in right now have is I'm a refugee. These people have an open border. I'm going to go there and they're going to protect me.
Exactly. And that's one of those things, like, and it just goes along with it, is if we better ourselves, we better our own country, then we're going to be that place that people want to go to. They want to go to. They want to change their life for the better. Not, I just want out.
Right.
And that's one of those things that, fixing the border, as in fixing every aspect of it, fixing, America as a whole. I've been sharing we both started reaching out on X and really getting our ideas out there. And, a lot of that, like one tweet I shared was, stop sending billions to Ukraine if we can't take care of our own. And, the little kids stand behind the politician saying, I'm starving. And the politician turning around saying, fuck off. That's the issues that we need to attack. That right there is the reason that we aren't the place that they want to be, that we're the place that they have to be.
Yeah, because like right now, we're just an open door. Well, I wouldn't even say an open door. We have an artery bleeding right now, and people are coming through it. And right now, we're not trying to stop the artery from bleeding. We're just putting Band-Aids on it. And people are taking advantage of it.
And for example, they're taking advantage of it because, all in all, the fundamental system is broken.
Yeah. And it's not even a bunch of Mexicans coming in either. It's people from South America saying, I don't want, because it's like, I'd have to pull it up, but so just don't quote me on it. But there's a video of a bunch of migrants, and this guy's asking them, hey, we're in Mexico. Who wants to stay here? They have open doors. They're willing to take us. Who wants to stay in Mexico? Nobody raised their hand. And he's like, okay, who wants to keep on going and go to America? And everybody starts cheering because we're giving them all these benefits that us citizens can't even get. Like in this economy right now, when my wife just had her first kid, and we can't get food stamps while she's out of work. We barely got enough WIC to cover getting baby formula, which I'm grateful for, but that's literally all we can get. And we've been racking up all of our bills for the past since October on fucking credit cards because we just can't afford to live without it. So now we're $10,000 in credit card debt because we can't afford anything. But we're giving all these illegal immigrants all these benefits, they're giving them credit cards, they're giving them a place to live, they're giving them clothes, they're giving them food. They don't have to do anything for it, but just show up. Like, it's at the point where I feel like I should renounce my citizenship, go to Mexico, hop the border, and get all these benefits and live a better life than I am now as a natural born citizen. And I think it's bullshit.
I get that. And like I said, that is one of those things that, I don't think there's a correct, there isn't a correct fix for it. There isn't a like the golden path, the yellow brick road of fixing the issue. But I think a lot of it is, we need to fix everything. We need to fix all the fundamental part of it. And we really need to, it's one thing I've preached since, one of mine and yours very first debates is 17-year-old, dumb kids was, I really stated that, we should fix the ability to become a citizen because, we had a lady in our class, I'm not going to state her name, but, she'd been going to school with us for years. She's been going to school with us our entire life. And I remember our senior year, she came in absolutely elated and crying because she got her citizenship date. And that, to me, baffled me. She was almost 18 years old. And it took her entire 18 years of life, her entire every second of life that she knew up to that point, just to become a citizen. And that's an issue because, you know, I get that. I understand that there has to be rules and regulations, and I understand that, you know, we have to help people in need, and that's from all aspects of life. That comes from our own citizens, that comes from other citizens, that comes from people from other countries, immigrants. I understand that we need to be able to help everybody that we can physically help, and that's kind of our job as that first world country. You know what I mean? It's our job to help.
I
But
mean,
one thing
I don't think so. Like, I don't think we should be the ones here to fix everybody's problems. Like, I feel like if you're gonna, what this country is founded on is you're gonna come here and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I know I hate that term too, but it fits. You're gonna pull yourself up by the bootstraps and make something of yourself. That's what this country was founded on. Like,
I get that.
you're gonna come over here from England. You're gonna come over here from Germany. You're gonna come over here and get out of the oppression and build something out of yourself.
But then also,
You come over here and we're gonna hand you everything and have to live off of us.
but then also, my issue on that is, you know, if we're not going to offer the help, then, you know, and I feel like you'll kind of see my viewpoint on this is, then we also need to be a little bit more mindful on exactly what we get our hands into. You know, America is really big on, you know, I'm going to touch every single pot. You know, they're that weird uncle at the Thanksgiving dinner that makes sure they get everything on the table, and they make sure that if you got too much, they're going to call you out on it. You know, and that's kind of the way I view it is, you know, if we're not going to be willing to help, then we need to learn when to stand back. You know, and I think that's a big issue with America is we're really big on, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly. We try to get our name into everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in order to actually state that we're not going to help, then we kind of need to back off on that.
See, but I don't think we're in any position to help anybody right now. I could see, like, once we get everything fixed and we start, like, wanting people to come here, that, like, for example, just as off the top of my head, a way to do citizenship is you come over here, you bring all your documents, we're going to contact the country you came from, get like a background check for it off of you, see who you are, make sure you're not a felon or anything, or somebody's going to come over here and hurt our people. And if you're accepted, take a test, get your citizenship like within a year, and then say, okay, you get, for example, like, we'll give you food stamps, we'll give you something to help you out for like 6 months. But after 6 months, you're on your own. Like, don't let them come over here and suck on America's tit for 20 years just because we'll let you.
I think it should be a 2-year process. I think it should be a year of it should be a year of exactly what you said. You know, do the background check, do the test, do, you know, the citizenship. You know, prove yourself that you're here to further America. And then the next year is really, you know, start off with food stamps, start off with any help that we can give. And then over that course of a year, wean them off of it. You know, if you're giving them a family of four, $400 a month in food stamps after, you know, there's 12 months, you know, you can divide that by 4. That's every 3 months you drop 100. 3 months you drop 100. You wean them off of it, you know, because I feel like, honestly, if you got them over here, gave them all this help, and then 6 months just said, hey, we're done, we're cutting the cord, good luck, you know, that's also going to lead into the homelessness issue in this country, or, you know, the more politically correct unhoused issue in this country, which I don't understand that term either. But, you know, it's I think weaning them off, letting them because you got to think also, like, these people, some of these things that we take for granted as American citizens, these people don't understand these, just the civil liberties that we wake up for every single day. And I mean, I'm sure, the two of us are very aware of, we're two straight white men that live in America. I mean, there is that stigma of, civil liberties that we're allotted. Like, when I get pulled over by a cop, my heart rate don't go up, because guess what? I know I'm not going to get jerked out of the car because of the color of my skin.
do. I worry about that because I have firearms in my vehicle.
I mean, that's also, but
my lawyer would say that was a joke.
I thought you were in a boating accident. I thought I must be wrong. It must be somebody else.
For legal reasons, that boat on the bottom of the lake is mine.
But what I'm saying, like, those civil liberties that we are so used to living, that is day one what we expect. And I think that if you ended up just cutting it off and you just immediately ended it, there would be an issue. So I think a weaning off the process, kind of, let their toes get wet every, inch by inch. I think that would be a correct form of action. I feel like that would be a good tie between exactly what you just said, but still giving them the opportunity to get the help that they need while they're getting their grounding, and then turning them loose 2 years. After 2 years, they're set to go. You know what I'm saying?
See, like, the reason I said it the way I said it was because like I said, I grew up in a single wide trailer in a shitty trailer park, and my mom worked 3 jobs to support 2 children because my dad left us when I was 5 years old. We moved into that trailer back in 2005, and by the time I moved out, literally the whole demographic changed to all illegal Mexicans. And you would see a single wide trailer with 8 people living in it. One of them is a citizen, so they're able to get food stamps, welfare, and all this stuff, so that they will go to the food stamp office, get $2,000 a month or whatever in food stamps, and saying that they have 8 people in their household, so they get that much, and working under the table and pocketing all that money. And you see you see them with BMWs and Mercedes Benzes in a trailer park, and we're over here wondering, why can't we qualify for food stamps?
No,
because my mom has to work 3 jobs just to support us, so we make too much.
And that's what I was saying. It is that weaning process, but it also starts off with the base process. You know what I'm saying? Is, I think in that year after becoming citizens, right, is, obviously you're paying taxes, you're doing everything that we currently do, right? But there should be a basis there. It should be okay, so we give each member of the household $100 in food stamps. It's $100. Honestly, in today's economy, before Biden, I mean, honestly, $100 per person for a month ain't going far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're paying taxes. They're being watched just as much as we are. You're giving them enough to be able to cope with the change, but you're not giving them enough to be able to use it as a crutch. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not let's give them everything and then start weaning them off. It's let's give them something and then wean them off of something that's not that great. A family of 4 that's all living in the same house, they're paying taxes, they have to work legally. And for that year, they are citizens, but they're on like a probationary period to where you have to hold a legal job. I mean, you can be jobless. I'm not saying that, unemployment happens in this country every single day. Like, I've experienced it. I know you have experienced it. We've experienced the unemployment crisis. We know what that feels like, but we've had that moment of, oh God, what am I going to do tomorrow? But what I'm saying is, they hold that job. They hold a legal job at least over half the year. They get $100 per person for the first 3 months, and then all of a sudden they lose whatever the differential fraction of 4 is from their family group. If it's, let's just base it off a family of 4, because that tends to be a very common family group in today's age now, because most people don't have 10 or 12 kids, in today's age. So a family of 4, let's start them off with $400. After 3 months, let's drop it down to $300. After 3 more months, let's drop them down to $200. 3 more months, let's drop them down to $100. After that, they're on their own. And I think the health insurance should be a basis health insurance, as in they're able to hit your local health departments and things like that and get the absolute care that they need, or emergency care. Go to the emergency room and get that emergency care. But by the end of that year, they have to be able to fund their own primary medical insurance, or be able to willingly pay for it on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, because what
give
they're
that
doing
weaning
now,
process, but not giving that overwhelming help of, here's a blanket, here's this blanket state medical care that's going to give you literally the best medical care that you can get. You don't have to pay for anything. They will essentially approve anything that you throw at them, because there's so many freaking people in the system that they're not going to even look at it. And I think that giving them almost like a strict guideline, you know what I mean? Like, it's show them what the red tape is, because, America's the land of red tape.
Yeah,
Give them that in their luxuries that we're giving them, and then weaning them off of that so they know how to cope. Because you got to think, like, some of these people from Mexico or these third world countries, a lot of people don't even know what healthcare is. Insurance is such a foreign body to them. So if you think about it, like, insurance is something that we've lived with since day one. Whether we like it or not, we know about it. At a very young age, we know about it. We hear our parents talk about it. We hear our grandparents talk about it. We hear our teachers talk about it. That is stuff that we know downright. We may not have the best understanding in the world of insurance, but deep down inside, if someone asked us what insurance was, we'd be able to answer it at 10 years old.
yeah.
And these are luxuries that, and that's the reason I say that we would have to do a good year, because so to break a habit, here's a statistic I see, don't quote me on it, but to break a habit or gain a new form of habit takes about 365 days, right? So if we're looking at 365 days, so it takes about a year, every day of practice to form a habit, correct? Then these people that have never, ever had the things that we see as so common, we should not expect them to learn it right off the bat. And if we do, that's cruel. That is cruel. That's punishment on its own. And I think weaning them off, starting them off with not the best, I'm saying I say we start them off with the bare minimum to make sure that these people have food on their table and are able to see a doctor if they are going to work and they slip on black ice and they shatter their leg. Give them the bare minimum, but also that bare minimum is there to teach the mindset of America, because we have an underlying mindset, no matter what your background is, what state you're from, what community you're from, whether you're born in rural Oklahoma or you're born in the bustling New York City. There's that underlying mindset that America has, that the knowledge base that we have, that because this is what we deal with every day. This is what we have dealt with for years. This is the same struggles that our great grandparents have dealt with, that some of these people that come into this country, they don't even know what the word means. Like insurance, that's such a far-fetched, like, even when it comes down to just simple car insurance, and car insurance is mandatory now. If you get pulled over and you don't have car insurance, like, buddy, you get ready to look at that rap sheet when you go to court, because you're about to get screwed over, and car insurance is something that they probably have never even heard of, other than American TV in their third world country on the TV that they watch every now and again. Like, that is something that's not even on their radar. And so I think that weaning process in a year of starting with basic necessities and learning America, because, they say the English language is the hardest language to learn. I think America is the hardest hardest country to learn. There are so many nuances and so many political and daily things that we see every single day that we have no idea that people struggle with just basic knowledge. And I think that that is something that would benefit greatly and would honestly, it would help make a better citizen, you know? And it's not just cut and dry, hey, you're here, good fucking luck. It's no, you're here, we'll help you. You got a year. You got a year. We're going to help you for a year. We're going to get you where you need. We're going to get you to that point. At that point, after that year, if you sink or swim, that's on you. But I'm going to give you the fucking floats. You just have to grab them.
Yeah, because there's no reason that these people are coming over here and getting all this free stuff because they're not in the system, so they're not gonna. There's no way to track them, so they get one person to sign up for all these benefits, coming and then sharing it with the whole house, and we're over here like, where's my bone? Like, I'm over here working 60, 70 hours a week. My wife is working 40 to 50 hours a week and supporting and we're trying to support a kid, and we're over here fucking struggling. There's absolutely no reason in the land of the free that we should be like this. Like, I don't know, it's very black-pilling because like growing up, we're always taught, oh, we're the best country in the world. We're the freest country in the world. We are the richest country in the world, and none of it's fucking true. Like, there's no reason I should be able to. There's no reason I should be able to go to Europe and live a better life.
Exactly, and that goes right back to what I was saying earlier. Is, you know, when they used to say that America's the greatest country on earth, we were.
Yeah, we were.
But that key word were.
Yeah.
And that kind of, like, I don't know, this whole conversation kind of reminds me of that tweet that me and you were talking about that I shared earlier that we were talking about right before we started recording this podcast. And it was from Tom Partridge, and he wrote, many years ago, I interviewed an older gentleman as part of a study I was conducting. He said, Republicans are people who will withhold food from 100 people out of fear that one might not need or deserve it. Democrats will feed 100 out of concern that one might really need it. And I know before we started recording this podcast, you said that that's how you feel like the two-party system used to be. And my exact response to that was, I feel like that's how the two-party system is today. And I'm just saying, you might not agree with this, but I feel like our whole conversation kind of leans that it is kind of how our party is today. You know, it's the fear of, I look out for that one. And I think the reason I look out for that one is, I love the advancement of medication, but when I was born to a drug addict mom, and that slept all day and cheated on my dad relentlessly, and she wasn't a great person. She's turned herself around now, and I love the woman for the work that she's done for herself. But my dad was, due to modern medication, he's a pretty all right guy now. You know, he's able to work, he's been able to support himself. But when I was born, that man was in a wheelchair. And when I say we lived in poverty, when we live in poverty, we made $600 a month, and that was food, rent, that was everything.
Mm.
And so, kind of the reason that I feel so strongly on that help and that need is, here I am, here I was this little kid, and there was nights that I could walk into the living room, I could see my dad crying because, we didn't know how we were going to get food on the table the next day. I don't know how many birthdays and Christmases I had that my dad, no matter his physical detriments of his diseases, I don't know how the man did it, but he's the best drawer that I've ever met. And he would draw me these very intricate paintings or artwork. And that was my birthday. That was my Christmas, because even something as simple as going to get me a Hot Wheel from the store was out of budget. A 94-cent Hot Wheel from Walmart was so out of budget for my family that it couldn't happen. The only time I got nice things was when one of my grandparents would feel bad because I went to spend the night and I didn't have a single pair of shoes that didn't have a hole in them, and we would walk out in the rain, and I would get back home to their house, and they realized that a learned trait of mine was immediately take my shoes off and hang my socks out on the porch because they got to dry out because they got so much rain soaked. And I think that is one of those reasons that, Democrats will feed 100 out of concern that one might really need it. I was the kid that needed it. You were the kid that needed it. You were a single mom that you came from a single mom that, let's be honest, she worked her ass off and it wasn't enough, and I really think that's one of the big reasons that I look into that help for, especially new citizens, is because, if you're new in this country, those parents they're just like ours. They need that help. They need that hand. And I think that's what America should be. I think America, in order for us to be, the greatest country on earth, I think we need to be that helping hand. And I don't mean that like theology, or I don't mean that to like everybody in this world, but if you want to come and be a part of our great country and you want to be here, then downright, I don't care what anybody says, I think you're deserving of help.
See, like, like the reason I said before that I think that's how the two-party system used to be is because, the Democratic Party was always like, we're here for the little guy. We're going to look out for the little guy. There's no reason that somebody should go hungry when we're the richest country in the world. Which, to people needing help, that is such a great thing to hear. But when you look down into it, like I said, my mom worked 3 jobs to support 2 kids in a shitty single wide trailer in a shitty trailer park. But they said, "Oh, you make $10 too much. Go fuck yourself. Get out of my office. You don't get no help."
Yeah.
And we grew up eating hot dogs, bologna, and ramen noodles because that's all we could afford. Like, if you got a steak, boy, you better cherish it. And it wasn't a great one. It was the smallest cut of sirloin that you could buy at the store.
Man,
I thought that was a
Roundup.
treasure.
Yeah.
No, we were too good for Roundup. We had some class.
See,
Like,
I couldn't even afford anything other than Roundup, so
we saved up for 2 months to buy a $5 cut of sirloin.
And that's what I was saying, like, earlier when I was, referencing that other Twitter post of we should stop sending billions to Ukraine, protect our own, and the little kid saying I'm starving, and the politician saying fuck off. It's kind of that same mentality.
That was me as a kid.
Exactly, and that's kind of the same mentality and that's what I was saying is, like, if you're willing to come here to this country, you deserve help. It's because if you're a part of this country, you deserve help. And that's the basis that I'm getting on, is not just because you came to this country is what qualifies you for needing help. No, what I'm saying is, if you're a part of this country, you deserve help. We can, I live my own personal philosophy on, I'll make sure me and my own are good. As long as me and my own are good, whatever's extra, I'll help. And I think that's kind of what we need to get back to, is as long as America's good, as long as everybody in our country is good, then let's give all the help to every other country that we can physically give it to, because why not? you know, we're not here to just stockpile and stockpile and stockpile and stockpile. No, if we can give help, let's give it. But let's worry about us first.
Yeah, but
And when I say let's
they're
worry
not
about
doing
us
that
first,
nowadays.
that's
They're-
well, and that's what I'm saying is that's kind of, you know, that's part of the discussion. That's kind of the basis of this podcast is realizing the brokenness of America.
See, and that's what America should have been, or was trying to be when they started, is come here, make something of yourself, and then help the guy next door do it. Like
Mhm.
small community, you're going to get you and your own settled, and then help the guy next door. Like you see, like you hear about all these like Europeans coming over here on vacation, or anybody coming over on vacation for that matter, and they say Americans are the nicest people they've ever met. They're the most, like, you hear stories of people saying, why do Americans always ask you how you're doing? How's your day going? Because that's who we are. That's a foreign concept to everybody else, which is what America should be. But until you can get your own household settled, we have no business trying to help anybody else because we can't. And it's just gonna tear us down, make us a third world country if we try.
But then also, like, that is something that, you know, we need to take into heart is we can't just state it. We can't just state, make sure me and my own are good, and then worry about that neighbor. There needs to be strive to make sure.
Well, if you don't, people's going to walk up with their hand open, asking for help, or asking for a handout, and we're just going to give them money we don't have, like sending billions to Ukraine every month that we don't have, and it's ruining the people that live here for it. We have no business helping Ukraine.
But then also the idea of, you know, protect me and my own, but in the end they don't. You know, that's kind of the other side of that is there has to be that discussion of what's the steps, you know, what's the plan. You know, I don't think anybody's actually laid out a plan in ever. Like, honestly, like, you know, it's been decades since anybody's actually formulated a plan, and don't just say what we all think, and then it doesn't ever move past that.
Yeah, and the basis I'm trying to get to is it all starts in your own home first. We're not going to vote somebody in that's going to do what we want to do, and we shouldn't rely on it. And if that's not the American motto, I don't know what is. Worry about get your own house settled, get your own family on their feet, thrive in your own communities, and then move on from there. Until the American people get that in their heads, there's no help. There's no looking forward as a country, because we don't have a identity right now, because the average American household is struggling. So they're not. So
we're gonna stay in that. You know, we're the untrained rat. We're the control rat in the experiment. You know, we're just running around this maze, and we don't even know where the prize is.
Yeah,
and that's how I see America right now. Is we run around. We know there's an end. We know it's there, but we don't know what it is.
I see it more of as a chicken running with his head cut off. Like, you know something's wrong, but you're gonna die trying to figure it out.
Can't figure out what. Yeah.
You're gonna die before you figure it out.
I think this is a good spot to leave off. I feel like we had a really good discussion.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good, productive first episode. Getting the basis out of who we are and where our minds are.
And kind of end it with this is everything we have to look forward to. These are the discussions that is going to be coming to you every single week. After we get the hang of it, we kind of get our schedules right and make sure that we get everything that we want to talked about, and we want to do an episode like this every week of just different political or societal or economic topics that regard in kind of bringing that left and right together to try to find the real solution. We're also going to sprinkle in probably some conspiracy theory episodes and some of that
Boy, do I have a
tin hat
list.
mafia. Some of that tin hat mafia that we're going to kind of sprinkle in and let you know that even though I feel like we both got some pretty good heads on our shoulders, we do kind of have that crazy side to us, and yeah, this is exactly what we have to look forward to, and can't wait to talk to you next week.
Yeah. So Lee, where can the people find you at?
You can find me on X right now. It's let me get my exact handle pulled up. Find me at Lee Thompson 1776. What about you, Ray?
Find me at the same place. You can find me on Twitter or X or wherever you want to call it nowadays. And my handle is Ray Green 1776. I post some fire memes.
I post a lot of
Meme it till
abortion
you make
stuff,
it.
so I'm just gonna let y'all know that. And then you can also follow I'm Right, He's Left. Of course, here on Spotify. You can also follow us over there on YouTube. We'll be posting some videos soon. We will be shortly videoing every podcast as well, so you'll be able to see a live view of us recording this podcast. And then I'm gonna try to start branching out in different venues. So just check our link tree. It is located on both of our X handles, and anytime we get a new social media account of I'm Right, He's Left, or our own personal viewpoints of it, you will definitely see that pop in that link tree. So just keep checking back on there as well.
Sounds good. I just want to say, don't chug that black pill bottle too much. Try to limit yourself on it. Because it's dark now, but you can't stay there. You gotta keep your mental health in check.
Yeah, just know mental health matters. Self-care is the right care, and just know with discussions like this and listeners like you, there will be a light at the end of that tunnel. We just got to all get there together.
That's right. Well, anything else you want to say?
No, just good night and good luck.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.